Welcome to this episode of the Game of Life and Happy New Year. Happy 2026. I'm hoping you're well because we are well at the Game of Life. And in studio, this time round, another great friend of mine, a colleague. We've interacted quite a number of times in the media. He's covered sports, he's covered art, he's covered entertainment. And as we speak, he's doing something, should I say, communications expert. But in between, he's lived quite a life. And by the end of this show, you will have known a man who, as we speak, perhaps might not have a right to be around. But if you believe in miracles, he is a living miracle. In studio with me, the one and only Felix Eupal.
Thank you so much, Andrew.
Not Eupal.
It is Eupal.
Eupal.
Yes, Eupal. I'm a wise man from the east.
Okay, I thought you come from Nepal.
No, I hail from Bukedea.
Bukedea.
Yes, so that we are wise men.
How do you greet in Bukedea?
We shall get to that.
No. I need to learn now.
In Iteso.
Sorry, Bukedea is, that's Iteso.
Yes.
So you say
Biaibo.
Biaibo.
Yeah.
And I respond?
Jakona.
Jokuna.
I know. See, I'm raised in Kampala. There, you got me on that. I'm raised in Kampala. Yes.
Hey, Felix, welcome to the Game of Life.
Thank you for hosting me.
I'm extremely humbled. You are the next colleague I'm hosting after our friend Ismail da Kabachugongo.
It's a pleasure.
And,
it's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to be here in 2026. Happy New Year to you.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you.
Amazing to be in a new year. Last year was quite, I would say, the journey.
Yes.
Yeah. If it is superlatives, I don't have the right ones to explain 2025.
Fantastic. We'll get there. Felix, I want to get it straight out of the blocks. Bukedea, you say. Is that where you were born? What's your parents?
That's my parents. That's my father.
Okay.
My father hailed from that side. My mother hailed from Uganda.
Okay.
Yes.
It's a good mix.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the journalism. You know, my first time to do journalism was when I was a kid. And that was reading newspapers out aloud in the farm. Pretending I'm Bale Francis. And then finally, the dream came true. How did you first know that you wanted to be a journalist?
Well, actually, I never wanted to be a journalist.
Okay.
I wanted to be a lawyer by profession. I always fancied putting on a suit and being the smartest man in the room. As such, I decided to do history, economics, literature and English, and divinity for my A-levels. And I quite excelled, passed quite well. I even scored an A in literature. I had 22 points. We're doing 4 principles by now. At the moment, the whole system changed. Yeah. So now it's 3 principles. So I was very sure that I was going to get into law. And on my application form back then, it had 6 courses. So I didn't fill in all the 6 options. I only filled in 2 options, law and mass comm. When the final results came and they were pinned onto the notice boards, I was not in a law class. I was given mass communication. So I sought for advice and I was told, no, you can actually go and apply for change of course, which I did. But remember, the results come back after a certain period of time. So it would mean that I had to do 2 courses at the same time, mass comm and law. As you wait, if your application for change of course is actually accepted.
How do you do that?
I would study law classes during the day, and then evening you do mass comm. But 2-3 weeks down the road, journalism was quite interesting. Yeah, it wasn't. It didn't seem that tasking as law was. And in my second year, I had made up my mind
that this is it.
This is it.
But also, we are talking journalism. Something leads you to journalism, or on your way to journalism, you do something that actually you end up doing in journalism. You're seated here, one, as a communications expert, but also as someone who played sports.
Definitely.
Did you? I mean, you played basketball, football?
I played basketball.
Basketball.
Yes.
How far did you go in basketball?
Well, I played until our National Basketball League. I was playing for a team that is now defunct, Sharing Sense Basketball Club.
Is that in Zambia?
That is in Zambia.
Zambia,
Yeah,
okay.
Zambia. The court was at Sharing Hall. It actually still exists, but the program is no longer there.
Oh, and that starts from
That starts from my senior six. I was playing for Rubiri High School.
High School, yes.
Yes, but I was not a student. Rubiri High School by then was playing in the league. We were in the lower division. What we would call, back then it was only one division. It was Division 1. So I decided to, when the school was not continuing with the basketball program, being in the league for various reasons, I joined basketball. I joined Sharing Basketball Club.
Okay. Yeah. And how many seasons did you do in the Top Flight League?
Top Flight, 2 seasons.
2 seasons.
Yeah. 2 seasons.
Why didn't you? I mean, we have Ben Komakech.
We were in the same lot actually with the likes of Ben Komakech.
And he still goes around and plays some ball. He was in the finals
Jimmy
the other
and
day.
Abus were 2 years, I believe, below us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm asking what happened.
What happened?
Yeah.
Injuries happened, and then the distractions of campus. I was a party animal. So practice, I was always late. Then the games were on Saturday, often happening at hours when your head cannot actually get up. So partying was mostly to blame. Then the injuries came in. Yeah. Then a lot of focus had to be put on the education because my scores weren't that good. So Muzei was putting a lot of pressure on me to get them up. And basketball was consuming most of that. So I had to clear my head and get myself straight back on. Yeah.
So you stopped now playing the game at Sharing, but now you got to cover the game as a journalist.
Yes, and now I stayed just playing not for fun, but now covering it as a journalist. And it was quite an interesting thing. It still is, because I had in-depth knowledge of the teams, of the players. Yeah, I wasn't just someone that would just give a post-game comment which would last for 2 minutes. I knew what was happening in the teams, who was training, who wasn't training, why the coach was fielding this one, why the coach wasn't fielding this one, because we're one family. We're together. We play together. Even off court, we have pick up together. That usually used to happen at Makerere Pool Court. Yeah. So
and that's what we call experiential journalism, whereby while I would struggle to look for Komakech, he's your buddy, you're in the same. I mean, you get the quote from him, and
exactly,
and then you say
at certain times you the people that you play with all the time. At times you are the one who actually has some sneakers and the player doesn't have cool game sneakers, because basketball is a game of showbiz. Your fashion statement is actually very important on the floor. So if you had the cool dogs, as they were called back then, you pass them on to your guy so that he can have the shine.
Felix, that's interesting. But then, how do you get your way to journalism? I mean, you're playing at youth, you're at university. You go on to write for one of the best publications in the country, the Weekly Observer. How do you end up there?
How do I end up there? I ended up there through the assistance, but by then he did not know actually that he was assisting me. I was assisting him. John Vianney Simbe, a very good friend and renowned also journalist. He has covered sport for quite a number of years. And even up to now, he still maintains his ethical standards when he's reporting, when he's covering a story. He would give it 100%, and you would sit down and read his piece comfortably, knowing that I'm reading it from an authority. And when it comes to football, which is his biggest passion, wow, he has covered the sport. So John Vianney Simbe used to come to Makerere University. Back then, Observer used to carry out a subsection called Street Talk. They would have a question about a topical issue, and then they would ask the public for their views. So John Vianney Simbe was assigned that task. So we get to meet at basketball, and we get to become colleagues, friends. And it was easy because he would actually call me and I would gather my friends, girls and boys. So it was simple for him to find us in one place, ask us, who were free to give our opinionated answers, take pictures of us. And it was fun to an extent that my friends actually were calling me, when is he coming back? We also want to be in the paper because they saw their other friend, taking a good
with
picture.
pictures even.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's your picture and then there's your answer
Yeah.
down there. So it was easy for him. That's how I got to be in love with the Observer. And he encouraged me to, hey, you should write. You can write. You're doing journalism. Give it a try, and the editor will tell you what to change and what not to change, and boom.
Yeah. Is there one piece of sports story that you wrote and you look back, you're like, I'm proud of that? There are many, but is there one that stands out?
There are quite so many. Yeah, but I still recall my very first piece in the Observer. It was actually known as Sports Piece.
Exactly.
Yeah. It was a piece about the Palm Awards, the now defunct Palm
Awards.
Yes.
Yeah. Music Awards.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pearl of Africa Music Awards in full. Palm Awards was something that every musician in Uganda looked up for. Yeah. And actually, not just in Uganda, in East
Africa.
Yeah. So it was a writing for communication exercise. We were tasked to write a story about a topical issue or something that is making news as a class, those that were majoring in writing. It was a writing for communication assignment. So I looked around and yes, the buzz was about Palm Awards. Most people wanted to write about politics, parliament, business. I said, no, let me write about this. So as a journalism student, you have to get two sides of the story. You have to get voices which will give the story credibility, that will give the story relevance. You have to make the story engaging. You have to get your facts right. And you have to focus mostly on your punctuation, your grammar, the basics of good writing, basically. So I sat down, knew the topic I had to write about, went around, asked a few people here and there, students who are doing music, dance and drama at Makerere, and asked lecturers who were teaching music at a high level. And to my surprise, Andrew, they had the total opposite of the views about Palm Awards. They were like, no. This project is not for Ugandan music. This project is not for music. This is a beer selling gimmick, hiding under appraising and recognizing talent. The actual essence is to sell beer and market the beer company, using the awards as a platform. Look at they were criticizing the judges. They were criticizing the categories of the judges, actually not knowing what actually makes Afrobeat, what makes Afropop, what makes traditional music. All right. They were criticizing the genres. The wrong music was placed in the wrong genres. And what was the follow-up after an artist winning an award? Do you just get the plastic plague? And back then it used to come with 1 million cash kitty to it. Then what? What are they doing for this category? How are they diversing it? What is it lacking? How is the music communicating? Is it being used as a tool for change? Is it used as a tool for peace? Is it used as something that can have an impact? Is it being used as a remedy? All of that was not considered. How does the artist get to the award? How do you want them to get to the award itself? All right. And in their conclusion, the Palm Awards started out as a brilliant idea, but the marketing of the sponsors and the control that the sponsors had over the concept basically destroyed it. It was like having a goose which is laying you the golden eggs, and then you get excited by the eggs and you forget taking care of the goose. So you are left with the golden eggs, but you have killed the goose. And I still remember when I was given a call by John Vianney Nsimbe. I was in class and he was asking me, have you seen the paper? I was like, no, I haven't seen the paper. He said, go buy the paper. Andrew, life at campus can be a bit hard sometimes. You live on a shoestring budget. In my pocket was 2,000 shillings that Thursday. But I walked comfortably, and I think it was one of the most well-spent 1,500 shillings that particular semester. Because I remember you'd get a good Rolex for 1,500 back then at such a fee. And your supper would be done. But the thought of, the feeling of seeing my byline, Felix Eupal, on the Observer newspaper. Not just any newspaper, the Observer. The fact that they just didn't cover the news because the news was already there, the stories had been broken. It's still the same niche that the Observer carries up to now. They cover the so what to the story. So what? This happened, but so what? Okay? What is its impact? What's its call to action? All right? Now, your story had to be concrete, thorough. You had to go through all the basics of journalism and even add an extra touch. That is why up to now, the catchphrase for the Observer is taking you deeper. You scratch the surface of the story. Now, there was this feeling within me that, wow. You know, it's kind of like you're in this school games of senior 5 versus senior 6. It's very tight. You know, the school is shouting and all that, and you get to score the winning goal. Yeah, that was the feeling.
So,
And
yeah.
I showed it to everyone in class, anyone who cared to listen. That newspaper was a darling to me. Is Palm Awards for or against Ugandan music. I still even recall the title. That was in 2009, by the way.
I'm sure
in my third year at campus.
You weren't very popular with the organizers of Palm Awards, were you?
No one knew me. No one knew me. I was a student at journalism.
Yeah.
I didn't have any any story put out there. I used to look forward to bylines of Eddie Gabate, Kalunji Kabuye, Emmanuel Sejengo. Those were the Moses Serugo. Those were the major bylines.
Yeah.
You'd read and say, he covered this event. I like his writing style. Because even when we're learning about writing about arts and culture, you'd get newspapers and they tell you review. Tell us what is different about this story. So you'd refer to the story, also refer to the author of the story.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here I was, and my byline was there. And guess what? My simple phone number now was getting calls from people I did not know. Organizers of the awards asking to meet Felix Eupal.
Mr.
Yes. And the person on the other end was referring to me as Mr. Felix. At first I was even shocked. So I had to tell Vianney about it because I'm receiving calls. But he told me, I'm the one who gave your number to some of these people. They wanted to talk to you, but don't be intimidated. Feel free. And then here I am, and I get a phone call. And the person on the other end is telling me, my name is Isaac Mulindwa. I said, oh. So there was a slight pause. Like, he expected me to know. The voice on the other end expected me to pop, which wasn't the case. So what I did is in the middle of the conversation, he goes, Isaac of Palm Awards. Then it clicked. Okay? This is Isaac of Palm Awards. Now, he requested that I meet him at his office in Bogolovi. So I was a bit hesitant. This was the first time. Now, why would a man as busy as Isaac Mulindwa want to meet Felix Eupal? Remember, he was all over tabloids back then. He had those cool, fancy, old-fashioned cars of back then. They were usually white with big rims and all of that. Those vintage cars, they're the ones that you used to drive. And they had customized license plates. Moline 1, Moline 2. No? Just passing through town, everyone would be like, oh, that's a guy of Palm Awards. Now, here he was calling a student at campus, requesting to meet the student at campus. You'd get the feeling, the confusion, the excitement at the same time. So I gathered up my courage and said, no, let me go and see the person. I thought he was going to comment about the story being negative and what, but he did not. He was very smart about it. He actually now gave me a direction on which I had to take. Now, I was a journalism student. I didn't know much about branding, marketing, I didn't know that a brand, when you're writing for a brand, you are actually only representing the brand. But being a journalism student, my obligation was to the general public, just like it is to any other journalist. We are watchdogs, all right, of the general public. We see what is happening, we craft it up very well, and we present it. That was my role. So, and I was fresh, I was eager and hungry. And remember, I had a byline, okay? So I had a shield behind me, and not just any shield, the Observer shield. So I was given a direction, you should write about this, focus on the musician, focus on the award, Indirectly, he was not saying, please don't be negative. ensure that the reporting is only positive. That meeting even came with an offer of me being a contributor to the Palm Awards magazine. They used to have a regular magazine about upcoming events, about musicians, what they were doing. And he was very quick to always put a financial attachment to it. So I remember it was quite interesting, the departure of that meeting. So here I am, meeting has ended. He's a very busy man. His phone is ringing. He has another meeting. Says, okay, we shall keep in touch. He calls his, I think, secretary or PA, ensure that he's invited for the Palm Awards. Get him a VIP ticket. Say, VIP ticket.
Hey.
Yeah, he even joked, you have a girlfriend? He needs more. He has to come with company. She'll sort it out. So here I am. He tells me, please first hold on. I wait. Say, we're going to be in touch with you. We're going to call you. And just give me a minute. I wait. And for my, she comes back, gives me an envelope for my troubles. That was the comment that came. For your troubles and you taking your time to come here. I walk out majestically, jump into a taxi, and here I am. I say, now what is in the envelope? I open the envelope, and there's 200,000 Uganda shillings there. Now that
in which notes? In which notes?
10K, brand new. So it's like they're from the ATM machine. Yeah? So Andrew, you don't know the feeling I had. One was of fear. I was like, this is the payola that we have been studying about in school.
With Daniel
Kalinachi.
Yeah.
Who he used to emphasize so much. Payola, gifts in form of cash, favors, anything that you get from a source that might deter your objectivity. Please refuse. So my byline has just come out. I am scared. I need to protect my byline. So this man, I'm told to take a direction, a particular one. I have not been told that the story is inaccurate or not, or that it is bad, but I have to take a direction. And remember, he's not commanding. He's putting it out as a request. Think about it, you know. We are building this for the future. It's going to go beyond Uganda. It's going to be regional. And you are the people we are looking for to be part of this journey. It was quite very good politicking. So, with my 200,000 shillings, I'm budgeting now. Back then there was this joint that we used to have to go to stake out.
Yes.
I'm like, now, Super Tuesday and Rock Night, here I come. But the Felix in me told me, no, first go to your editor. So I go to Observer and tell Carol Nakaziwe, back then she was the entertainment editor, about what had happened. So she was professional enough, told me, did you ask for this money? I said, no. Under which guys were you given the money? I narrated to her what had happened. I said, okay. Now I don't want this to deter your reporting. Okay. I need you to stay with the same exact reporting the way you have been doing it. Factual, both sides of the story, something that is well balanced, because this is the Observer style. Okay. And she told me, if things like this are happening, you should not be accepting them. But this has already happened. Now in my mind, my heart is telling me she's going to say, refund the money. But that wasn't the case. You know, 200,000 Uganda shillings in 2009 was a lot of money.
A lot of money.
It could do too many things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they give me back the money. And that was one of my beginnings to actually say, oh, so if a story is actually accurate, well done, without bias, it just not only gets people's attention, it also gets you respect. Because the respect I had of people calling me Mr. Felix, this and this, that story opened so many avenues for me. I realized that good reporting just doesn't get you noticed. Good reporting gets you respect. Good reporting actually now opens doors where you're not looking for the sources, where the sources actually the ones looking for you because they know this is someone who can tell our story. This is someone who can tell our side. And when you looked around back then, all the stories that were coming out about the Palm Awards were purely positive. They did not have the other side to it. That yes, it is brilliant, it is good, there are numbers, the ticket sales are up there, but what of the music itself? Is it developing? Is it growing bigger? Is it helping the artist become a better artist? All right. And as you saw with time, the Palm Awards started dwindling. They weathered and they died.
Yeah.
And they have never been resurrected. So many people have tried to come up with awards, but because they don't follow the proper process and they just are aiming at putting it out there, what is the essence of the word? What is someone benefiting from it? How is it helping that particular industry develop, become better? Which questions is it answering that have not been answered? Which solutions is it bringing to the table? What is the continuity plan to it? And if you're setting them up, have you first looked at the sustenance of the project itself?
Yeah.
Does the project have a lifespan? All of those things are not put into considerations when these things are coming out. That is why the moment an award is born, 2-3 years down the road, it is dead. Right?
Yeah. Of course, you continue reporting
Yes.
in arts, culture and sports.
Yeah, but arts and culture took the bigger side of me
Yeah.
because it was fun, the entertainment, and mostly the endless free tickets. Yeah,
And that made the natural party animal in you.
and
And the free tickets, I'm sure, come with free on the house, if you know what I mean.
definitely
Free on the house.
I reached an extent
Yeah.
just after graduation, and I did not have to struggle to get into any concert in Kampala. So did so many,
Because all these things
entertainment-
happen when you're at campus.
Yes, so many entertainment journalists also were in the same fray as me. Okay, because walking into a nightclub, we were friends from the club owners, the bouncers, the managers, the public relations officers who are endlessly into our phone books about reporting on their theme nights and everything, music promoters, event organizers were all on our fingertips, right? You'd have access to any of them. They would call you for rehearsals, how the musician is rehearsing before the concert and all of that. So I was at campus and at the same time working. So as other people were being charged entrance fee to attend a concert, I was being paid to attend the concert.
Felix, if you're at campus, when you have freedom, now you have money, then you also have the advantage of accessing any place that you want
Of entertainment.
of entertainment. At this time, because if you're going to be partying every other day, I'm sure these guys, I've seen the one thing that they offer is alcohol.
That is a constant.
That's a constant.
It's a constant.
Are you drinking by this time?
Yes, I was drinking by that time. I actually first drank when I was in my senior 3.
Oh, that was
Yes.
quite an early break.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it happened when there were those school trips, because I was quite good at basketball, very good. Yeah, I used to play number 2. That's a shooting guard. Yeah, and I was quite athletic at it. I was quite very fit. So, because I started playing basketball at an early age, as early as primary 5, I have one of my elder brothers called Jordan Eupal. He tried so much to teach me the game, and yeah. And when I joined Sakul Senior Secondary School, I knew basketball. Most of the kids were just learning how to dribble, how to bounce the ball. I knew the game. But of course, being in senior 1, it was very hard to make the school team. It was made up of senior 4s and senior 5 and senior 6s. So in senior 2, we had a tournament, and that tournament was going to be in Ndeje. Ndeje was the one hosting the
Was that the Sprite?
No, before Sprite.
Sprite, okay.
It was actually regional qualifiers.
Okay.
It was regional qualifiers before you go for Sprite. How the sieving process of going for Sprite. And the day before the tournament is when they call a team meeting and they award jerseys. So Felix is listening, and there's no chance in hell I can say I'm going to get a jersey. The only thing that I was praying for was to be on the traveling list. Because when you're going for such games, you have different meals, you get to step out of school.
Yeah, legally.
Yes, legally. Your friends give you part of their pocket money to buy for them things.
Yeah.
And you're going to charge them for buying those things, you know. So instead of getting my name onto the list traveling the next day, I was read as someone to come and pick a jersey. I was the first senior 2 student in our lot to be on the school team. That meant everything. Now, I just wasn't a darling back in the dormitory, in our boys' dormitory. Even on the girls' end, automatically I got a girlfriend without hustling in senior 2. Why? I had a school jersey and I'm in senior 2. I'm on the basketball team. That came with its own clout. So my bravado, my pride, my what, you know, all of it escalated overnight by just being on the school basketball team. You know, you get preferential treatment. In mess, you don't line up. You know, you are not caught for late coming during prep time. You can afford to miss morning prep. All right. Then your food is kept for you during supper because you're still on court. So it was the same treatment for basketball, football, and the volleyball team. We used to have preferential treatment. So that alone changed my lifestyle in school. Now, we go for this tournament. And I believe we did well. It was actually, we used to play 2 days. We used to play Saturday and Sunday. So on usually the games end early if you finish your group games. And we used to share buses, Saku with Katikam, because the distance was quite near. Now, before you come up, of course you get this time where you go around the shops and what and everything. And remember, when you go back to dorm, now you're on the school team, you are allowed to even shift your bed from the senior 2 side and take it to the senior 4 side, because your level of standard has been elevated. So my bed was on the other end. Now I just got decide to say hi to my friends, but I can sleep with the other guys. You know. Now, of course, they had alcohol. Now, Felix Eupal had never tasted alcohol, but it was a cool thing back then, you know. And not taking would mean that you are weak. Okay, so 1, you are weak. 2nd, you have to fit in. Right? And these are people that you look up to. Right? Now, if you don't fit in, it means that even when you're in practice, they won't pass you the ball. That guy is fake. You know? So you had to do what they do. That is when I picked up my first glass of alcohol. It was bitter as hell. My tongue was burning. My eyes were tearing.
That's the local potent gin, right?
Yes, local waragi. This measured stuff. The following day, getting out of bed, I didn't even know what a hangover is. I was sick. You know, I don't want to eat. I want to vomit. I feel feverish. And guess what? These guys are all just laughing at me. And like, Labafala. I was given some juice and what. Go to the sick bay, claim I am sick, given some tabs. I missed out on class. But in the evening, they told me, no, you have to sweat it out. It will burn. It will, go away. So gradually, I started I would take a sip or two. So by the time I was in senior 4 and it was a normal thing. And it was growing. And that wasn't just me alone. There was so many other people who kept on joining the team, senior 3, in senior 4. And it grew. It was a big vice. Slowly. And even up to now, it is still the same. Right now, it's even worse. Right? But that is when I first tasted alcohol, and it did so many things.
And of course, it can only escalate when you get the freebies and offers
now
that you are having access to
at campus, and you're attending an event and they're telling you, VIP is this side. They already have a set of drinks for you, on the side, so that you can watch the show when you're enjoying it. Whenever you go to attend rehearsals, musicians are always drinking. They don't have water breaks. Their water breaks are beer breaks. All right? So alcohol was basically part of my life, part of my job. Okay? It was just something that was always there. Yeah, not just at the job, but even now, it even went on to campus. Why? Because I got so many friends who just wanted to hang around me because, Felix is the plug. Who's the plug to the, Felix. Who can get us into here? Felix can. Right? There's this show. Who has tickets? Felix has tickets. So the partying just kept on growing and growing and growing and growing. Because at a certain time, I wasn't covering the events. I was an event myself. I was an event myself. That being you had to have a select list of people who have to be at your event.
Yes.
Now you want good coverage for your event, right? You are in an agency, and the agency is representing a particular brand. Now you need journalists who have been covering those events. So you need to be good to them. You need to facilitate them. You need to treat them well when they're at the event, so that the glitches, sound went off, poor lighting, time management, the band was not in sync with the artist.
Those you keep low.
All of that. The negative side.
Yeah.
Now, because they have taken care of you, one, they have given you some little money. They have got you drunk. They have got you drunk before the concert, during the concert, and after the concert. So when you sit down to write the story, you'll give the facts exactly how it was. But the negative side of the story, you would be a little bit smooth on them. You'd massage them because of that. Of the endless freebies, I would call them. Yeah.
Let's go to, because you see the trail from S3, then all the freedom in the world plus the ability to have it. And you talked about 2025, the year that was. And that, they say the wages of sin is death. 2025, everything, first of all, you get off the scene. Those of us who used to see you can no longer see Felix. And we are wondering where Felix is. And that year, we met and talked sometime in December. Literally almost took you, actually not the year, the alcohol almost took you. Just take us there, because you even told me it's a miracle you're around, and I'm wondering how much of that is are you even supposed to be around?
I am not supposed to be here. So many people, so many friends of mine are not here. They are 6 feet under. And all because of alcohol addiction, alcohol abuse, and our inability to be able to face our challenges head on, to give in to life, to not have that never back down spirit, and to not always believe in a higher power. Yeah. So I have been to the lowest of the low, the bottom of the pit, and it is by God's grace, God's mercy, and that inner voice within me of your story is not yet done, that we are sitting here at the Game of Life. And I'm proud to say that to this day, today, 10 months, 9 days sober, without any mood-altering substance in my veins.
10 months,
10
9
months,
days.
9 days clean today. That's an equivalent of 315 days.
And every day you make sure you count that.
Every day
When you
is
say you go to the bottom of the bottoms, what do you mean?
My bottom starts at I'm at the Observer. Everything is going on well. Yeah, I'm living the life of my dreams. Yeah, I'm attending every single event. I'm dating whoever I want to date. I'm going everywhere I want to go. Tours, sites, trips, everything, name it. I covered it all. You know, sports, with basketball, with rugby. Oh, I still recall those Elgon Cup trips, mostly the return leg to Nairobi. That was one hell of a trip, to the extent that you'd even not know the scores, or that you even sometimes would go and even not even watch the rugby, because it is beer after beer after beer from the time you leave Kampala until you arrive to the time you get back here. Yeah. So March, 2012, 2011, my mom suffers a stroke and she's hospitalized. She's paralyzed. Then she suffers another stroke. And unfortunately, she wasn't able to make it. So that was the hardest, most grueling times of my life. March 24th, 2012. Losing my best friend, losing my anchor, my shield, my knight in shining armor. We were raised by our mother, me and my sister. And we were very, very close. So close that we would discuss anything. We were friends. So the helplessness that I went through watching her wither away every single day killed me. The pain, the frustration, I numbed it all mostly with alcohol. Alcohol was my friend. Alcohol was my source of refuge. It nursed my pain. It brought me sleep at night. Right? It took me through moments when I wasn't able to go through. The bottle was my savior. When my mom passed away, it became worse. I couldn't explain how I felt. To me, time stopped moving. The world froze. But then to the rest of the world, the clock never stopped. My clock froze. I did not know what to do. And my only coping mechanism was to drink, was to be a functional alcoholic. And slowly, gradually, most people never saw it that, even I myself, I never saw that I was turning into an alcoholic. Yeah. I started coming home to work late. I started missing meetings. My immediate supervisors started noticing it, but there was little that they could do, because at times you'd be out of office for 2 weeks, but the stories keep on coming, keep on sending them. So I got used to doing that. You know, you'd sleep, do this, I have to send this at this time, at this time, at this time, and gradually it wasn't stopping. Now here you are. If I'm not in a newsroom, I'm attending a concert. If I'm not at a concert, I'm at a basketball game. Okay. After the game, there's always an after party, right? I was a power basketball fan. Power is synonymous with party lifestyle. Yeah. It is power party. Which other discipline was I covering? Rugby. Rugby is synonymous with a carnival-like atmosphere. Chadondo, Kampala Rugby Club. Oh, dam waters in Ginger. Party non-stop. Beer after beer. So my work life was party life. I was partying and I was working at the same time. Now, that is how slowly I turned into a super alcoholic. Because I would party endlessly, but at the same time, be able to be functioning. You want your story, you'll find it in your inbox with the captioned pictures, well written, well crafted. I'll even give you an angle that these other people have not seen, because I was with the artists. I've been drinking with them. I've been with them in rehearsals. I've toured with them. I've seen them fight. I've seen them do what? I've seen them quarrel with managers over payment, over loans, over this. I've seen them write songs when the song is meant for a different thing and all of that. I have in-depth analysis, in-depth knowledge to that. So I'll write a piece and you're like, wow, the observer is really different. Where's the person writing the piece? He can't get up. His life is nocturnal. He's like a bat. You're looking for him during the day, you won't find him. Nighttime, you'll find him. Up to this date, many people wonder how I made it through campus.
Did you, at this time, are you going back home to sleep, or you now stay on the street?
No, at this time I still have a job. I still have...
No. I mean, all this is happening. You're literally party beer. Are you going to your crib?
Yes, I am. But basically, I think I should have actually got a refund for most of my rent money because I wasn't staying there.
Yeah.
I was just taking my head there to fall down asleep, wake up. And like I said, I'm here because of the grace of God. That I have so many friends. Some are still alive. Unfortunately, some have passed on, who all succumbed to HIV. Because the lifestyle that we're living was extremely reckless. Extremely reckless. Reckless in capital letters. What should I call them? Video vixens, so-called upcoming artists and what. All of them were there for the taking. And I clearly have a very good view when people lament and criticize musicians and sportsmen, mostly the males, and call them womanizers and irresponsible people. If they would actually be in their shoes for just 1 month and know the level of temptation that they face, that in most cases, most sportsmen, most musicians are very shy human beings because they don't know how to relate with the public. They don't know how to express their views. They don't know how to talk about the actual things that matter to them. Their real fears, their real worries. Why? Because the public out there sees someone wearing a jersey, someone scoring goals, someone scoring tries, someone dunking that basketball, hitting that three-point shot that is game-winning, him being with the ball doing a clutch play and actually going on to make that basket. But after all the praise, after all that sound goes away and everyone has left the court and he's taken off the jersey and he is himself, the fans are no longer there. He has worries, he has problems. Okay? He's now humanized. He has no one to talk to. The next escape would be a bar. If it is not a bar, it is usually some fan who is obsessed over him, and it will end up in a one-night stand, which was not the actual intention of that sportsman or that musician, but because it was an escape route of the pain, the frustration, the disappointment, the failure, that he cannot actually sit down and openly talk to with someone.
And Felix, you wrote a very good piece.
Yeah, At War with Myself.
At War with Myself. That piece came out in August
7th, 2025.
Yes, I read that piece 3 times.
Thank you for taking time to read that piece.
You're welcome. I read it. The picture they used was inch perfect. If you look at that picture now, I'm sure we'll show it.
I believe when you show that picture and the person sitting right in front of you, many would say that
yes,
he's not the one. Perhaps,
but in that story, one of your gifts is you took me there. You took everyone who read that story there. I remember seeing pictures of you staying in Katanga, with all the wrong people in society. And you being, you have a master's,
Yeah, I hold a master's
you hold
degree
a master's
in
degree
public administration
public
and
admin,
management.
and now you were managing all the bad people in Katanga.
I was their professor.
And they called you professor. Just briefly, take us to, like, how did you end up now feeling so comfortable with the people who absolutely have no right being with you, and you have no right being there?
Andrew, this is the most weird thing about the economics of addiction world over. The economics of addiction works in a very peculiar way. By the time I was jobless, homeless, clueless, I had not yet fully understood the economics of addiction. The economics of addiction works in a way that if you have a problem and you turn to a substance as a solution to that problem, let's say I am demanding you money and I'm constantly calling you, I'm nudging you, wherever you turn, there's something reminding you of, I need to pay Felix's money, I need to pay Felix's money. And then you go to the bar, or you go down and you buy a drink, or you go and buy a cigarette, or you go and buy a blunt of weed, smoke it, or you take a drink because of that problem. And you first calm yourself down and say, okay, I don't know what to do. You are fine. You don't have a problem with addiction. But the moment you have a problem, however small or big it is, and you consume a substance that alters your mind and your thinking, and that substance by any chance becomes the slightest of solutions to that problem, then you have started on the journey of addiction. The moment a substance, alcohol, a drug, I don't know, cocaine, ecstasy, these pills that we buy in pharmacies, and then you mix them and they give you a height. The moment it becomes a solution to your problem, every single time you have that problem, any single time you have a slight glitch, and what, you run to that substance. Even when you are celebrating and something is good, you know, you will still go to that drug because it was there for you when things were bad. You know, Felix is demanding me his money. I don't have a solution. You say, let me take a small UG. You down the thing. You out of the blue, you get confidence. You go walk up to Felix and tell him, dude, I'm tired of you demanding me like this. I am going to pay you your money. I just need some more time. Okay? I need time. I have my problems and what. By the way, how much money was it? It's even very little money. So, why can't you be patient? Now, that self-confidence of, I actually put this guy in his place. He has been over-demanding me, making my life hell. Now I can sleep. I have peace. Every single time you're faced with a solution, with a problem, and you don't have an answer, you are going to go and drink. Alcohol fixed it before. It gave you courage. You know, there's this girl, you like her, you don't have the courage, you take alcohol. Finally, you can talk to the girl. So any other time, you're like, no, I have a dose. Come meet a life challenge. You have, let's say, school fees, rent. You don't have the courage to talk to your landlord. You take alcohol. Finally, he's not the one even calling you. You're the one calling your landlord. Nenda kuwa sente zo. Chicho ogamba. So kano buyumba bo bubi. You even have the confidence now of assuring the man that the house is bad. It has somewhere, a place that is leaking. Why? Alcohol has given you that confidence. So to every single thing that will happen to you in life, the solution is alcohol first, or weed, or whatever it is that people get accustomed to. Or when it brings you this joy that you've never seen before. Take an example of people who are addicted to risk. You know, you are addicted to risk. You don't know the outcome of something, but you're willing to place money on it. You say, sports betting. Today I have to win. Why? You have won before without knowing the repercussions of an outcome, predicting them. That feel, that urge, that ecstasy when you win drives you back again. the probability shows mathematically that the game is not going to be won. But your mind of an addict will say, no, it worked before. How much do I have? I ride a border. I've taken a trip. I've got 5,000 shillings. 4,000 is going to sports betting. The 1,000 will stay in the pocket. Another amount will come. Now that's how addiction drives you. So along the things that happened to me that led me to down that trench, I lost my mom. I was frustrated. I was disappointed. I picked myself up a bit. I went back to campus. I did a master's. I was proud of myself. I tried to pick myself up slowly. Along the way, the drinking was not stopping. The challenges that came along the way, the people that I had hurt along the way. Then my father falls sick. He has prostate cancer. He has throat cancer. And I nurse him, which was very confusing, very annoying at the same time. This is someone who wasn't in my life. He was an absentee father, but he was ill. He was dying. And I remember my aunties telling me that whatever you do, whatever feelings that you have, anguish, regret, resentment, they're not going to change the fact that he is your father. And on top of that, you carry the same name, not just his last name, Eupal, but his exact name. And they reminded me and asked me, actually didn't remind me, they asked me, why do you think of all the children he decided to give you his exact name? My late father was also called Felix Eupal Ferdinand, just like I am. So the time that we spent at Uganda Cancer Institute when he was hospitalized, I believe even those doctors, the oncologists there, up to now, we're still friends with them. They used to wonder how to do it, my tolerance levels. Because after so many years of alcohol consumption, it is very hard to find an alcoholic whose face does not have so many scars. Many from bar fights, many from endless falls, which you don't know happen how. You don't know how you take a wrong step. You don't know. It is basically a movie. I don't have those.
Yeah, you don't.
Because my tolerance levels were at a very different scale. You would be with me and I would be drunk, but you would not know that I'm drunk. The only thing that you'd know is that my breath has alcohol. And there's a way addiction creates a lot of creativity. Most addicts are very smart people. Most addicts are very manipulative people, because we'll say anything, craft up anything to get our substance of choice. Our brains think at a faster rate, I believe, because we have an urgent need, an urgent urge. I used to move with a mineral water bottle most of the time, and people would think that I'm hydrating.
It had warage.
Now, the bottle would be half warage, a quarter water. Okay? And I used to always have a gum. Okay? Now, when you find Felix watching a basketball game, do you think Felix is taking water? But Felix is on a constant alcoholic drip, I would call it. At halftime, he steps out, he strolls, you don't see him in the washroom and what. No, he has walked out. If it is Lugogo, I've gone down at those ladies who sell nuts, blah, blah, blah. They usually have warage. But it is not on display. When you look for a substance and somehow we know how to find our things and we know who sells them. To someone who doesn't use it, you will not know. An alcoholic, someone who smokes weed, they will know where the market is. Someone who doesn't, you will not know. When if it is YMCA, I'd stroll down behind the police station next to the traffic lights. There's always, then you make a refill and come back. So someone wouldn't know that actually this guy is drinking. You don't see me staggering. You don't see me. Yeah.
And Felix, finally, you get your savior finally. Your brother or sister, your family take you to that rehab in Gulu,
Before that happened, Andrew, many people have asked me, you have asked me, the world has asked me in so many comments, how I ended up in Katanga,
Yes.
of all places.
Katanga, yes.
Now, addiction creates something peculiar, that everyone who tries to talk to you is an enemy. Why are they an enemy? Because they don't understand you according to yourself. They try to project their lifestyles and how they're living onto you. So automatically you start resenting them. Automatically you isolate yourself from them. You push away because you believe they are not on your side. And who do you run to? You run to people of your own kind. Now, the people in Katanga were of my kind. We were alcoholics. We were hopeless. In Uganda, what you do say, tetuina chiddako. What next? No answer. Okay? We did not live. We existed for the moment, for the next 1,000 shillings to buy the next drink. Okay? That spending a night in the cold was a normal thing. What was the blanket? Alcohol. We, besides not having hope, we gave up on life. We hated ourselves to the extent that we hated the world. We thought the world had given up on us. I thought the world had given up on me. I thought I didn't have anyone that would care for me, that would love me, that would appreciate and understand me. And my sister, Belinda Eupal Leka, had tried a couple of times, but she failed because I was adamant towards it. My aunties tried several times to get help, but I believed that I didn't need the help. Every addict out there has this feeling that I got this. I'm not yet there. When you find someone, they are beaten, they are what, you'll be like, I have not reached that extent. When you find an alcoholic who slept on the roadside, you are drunk, you also didn't sleep in a bed, you slept in a bar, on a counter, on a stool. You're like, I have not reached the level of sleeping in a trench or falling on the roadside. You make stupid juxtapositions to tell yourself that you're okay. And until I reached a point that I woke up and I was on the veranda of the Mwanguhya market of Northern Wing, and someone is kicking my feet, telling me, wake up, Kazuka, Kazuka, go on. And guess what? It is about few minutes to 6 a.m. I'm seeing kids going to school. You know, parents rushing and what. And guess what? I'm on a veranda with a few of my friends, and the guys who mop the market have come to clean the market so that people can start work. And immediately I'm rushing to the toilet because I want to throw up. The hangover, constant alcohol consumption, no eating. But in the process of trying to throw up, I'm vomiting and there's blood coming out. That is when I realized that I'm actually going to die. I'll tell you this for a fact. A month does not go by without someone dropping dead in Katanga due to alcohol or drug abuse. A month does not go by. Just last week, we buried 2 people because of alcohol. One woke up in the morning, took a drink. Next thing he knows, he asked a friend, can I lie down? Blood was coming out of his mouth. And by the time they called the nurse, told him he's dead.
Is that the point when family decided we need to take this guy and save him?
I think they had already tried, but all that was left was my acceptance, them knowing that I'm not going against my will. And that in itself helped me tremendously, because I reached a point of self-realization, just like the first rule of recovery is, I accepted that I was powerless over alcohol, that my life had become unmanageable. So it was either me continuing to drink and die, because addiction is very simple. It is either death, a mental asylum, or jail. Okay, the mental asylum, no, I had not. The jail, no. The police stations, those ones were my friends. Because I lost count of the nights I spent in Mwanguhya Police, Mulago Police Station. Not because I had committed a crime, but for what the police calls preventive arrest. Because you are a public nuisance, therefore deemed a danger to yourself and those around you.
Yeah.
Because you are drunk on the roadside, wee hours of the morning, so they bundle you up and they hold you in a cell until you sober up the following morning. You have no charge. So your punishment is to clean the police station, and you are given back your shoes, your belt, and whatever simple belonging you have, and you wave to the OC and go. You don't even have to sign for police bond for that. They are just protectively holding you. So my life had reached to that level. Here I was, a journalist, a renowned journalist, a master's degree holder, and alcohol had turned me into that. It can take you to the lowest of the low. That's why when I hear some musicians singing about the ghetto, I laugh. Because if they put them in the ghetto, they would actually not last. The ghetto is a very peculiar place, Andrew. It's a place where abnormal is normal, where anything is possible, where it is a jungle, basically. And to this date, I don't know how my mind figured that out, but I survived in Katanga without a bruise, without being beaten, with protection and with a voice. Not because I was affiliated to anyone or any thug or what, but I learned the art of standing out so that I would fit in. I was different. I'm with people who can hardly spell their names. I'm with people who have never seen a blackboard. I'm with people who pickpocket for a living. I'm with people who punch people for a living. You know, this guy has a nice watch. I think there's some money there. They follow you, harm you, take the watch. But those were now my fellow associates. So why wouldn't they hurt me? Because, well, Felix was their professor. I was the guy they would turn to. They're in police, they can't interpret a statement. They're in police, they can't get themselves out. So the rehab, when I finally accepted, I realized that my redemption wasn't just about stopping to drink. It was about getting my life back together. And it's something that so many people are struggling with. They fight so many demons and they don't know how to deal with them. From where your background as a child, your disappointments growing up, frustrations at work, frustrations in marriages, and they don't know, most of them turn to various ways of escape. And transformation and recovery starts with you accepting who you are, dealing with yourself, finding inner peace, making amends to those people that have hurt you and those that you have hurt, learning how to live with them, you know, listening to the voice of reason within you, starting to exercise your emotional intelligence, right? Choosing yourself first.
And all that you learned from
the rehabilitation
you spent there 90 days?
92 days.
92 days.
Yes. PACTA stands for Prevention, Awareness, Counseling of Alcoholism and Addictive Substances. And I wouldn't be sitting with you, Andrew, here if I didn't go through transformation and a 360-degree recovery. I learned how to face my challenges. I learned how to face my fears. I learned that we're not defined by our mistakes. We can always rewrite our narratives. And I learned that when you believe in a higher power, you can always be restored. Whenever you find that you're up against the wall and everything else is turning bleak, turn to a higher power. I spent 53 hours in a coma fighting for my life because of alcohol withdrawals. The withdrawals are some of the most terrible things that any addict goes through. That point when they put you on a stop. You've been used to alcohol, you've been used to taking weed, you've been used to drugs, and out of the blue, just like you flip off a switch, it's off. Boop. You start shaking, you start feeling feverish, you start becoming uneasy. Your body doesn't know what to do. The doctors explained to me that my body was in sync to alcohol, that the fact that I was off alcohol and I had been given a heavier dose of detox, my brain couldn't communicate with the rest of my body. So as a defensive mechanism, my nervous system shut down.
For 53 hours.
To protect my body. And the only thing that was alive was my slight heartbeat.
Yeah.
So that my body could reboot to what was happening to it. It couldn't function without alcohol. So when I say that I am a living miracle and a testament, you mentioned those pictures that appeared in the papers.
Yeah.
That was just 2 days before I set off for Gulu, that trip. And I weighed 47 kilograms.
Yeah.
I was lighter than a bag of cement because it's 50 kgs.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how bad it was. But to me, that was normal.
Yeah.
But every story can be rewritten and redemption is possible.
And you are rewriting it now at 300 days, you say?
315 days.
315 days.
Yeah, I actually stopped counting. Why? Because I know the days because we have an app. It's called Everything AA.
Yeah.
AA is short for Alcoholics Anonymous.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it helps you track your days. It has literature on how to overcome and build resistance. It has literature on how to help others, because that's the most important thing. It's a 12 step of recovery, reaching a helping hand out there to people who are struggling with addiction. And the numbers are enormous. And it cuts across all spheres. Entertainment, when it comes to sports, oh my God, it just grows day by day by day. Those just joining the sports, those that have played and are looked at as icons of pride and everything. Alcohol and drug abuse has turned them into despicable human beings. And we need to do something about it.
And I'm happy, Felix, because the 300 days, you've since turned the corner. You're born again now.
Yes, I am.
And finally, you're back in society,
yes,
heading the PR department at One Group.
I am currently the public relations manager and also head of the PR department at Capital One Group, Uganda.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are public relations and digital marketing firm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have our head office in Nairobi and we have also a Ugandan office.
So far, no relapse.
I'm based here in Uganda. No relapse whatsoever. Proudly moving on. I have a couple of friends who have relapsed, but we're not giving up on them.
Yeah.
We're still fighting the journey. Yeah. I started out an organization called Besania Counseling and Wellness Center. And our main focus is helping people who are returning from rehabilitation, build resistance, and make that transition back to society. You know, it's not just about recovery from the rehab, but how you transcend and get back to society. How you accept yourself that you are ready to be back, and how society views you, because most of the biggest part is the stigma and the self-doubt, and it starts from your own family members. That's the most surprising thing. They would doubt you. Personally, I have a brother who bet money on me. I will not last 30 days until I drink again.
You're now 300 days.
Trust me.
Good stuff.
And he was very sure that I was going to drink again. So many people, I believe when I just come back, I went to watch the rugby sevens at Kings Park, and they were amazed. Felix is here at midnight. Guess what? He's holding a soda.
Yeah.
And I was telling you that now it's different. At first it was a discipline, the sobriety, then it turned into a habit, and now it's a way of life. Because one of my counselors gave me a piece of paper and told me, on one side, write the good things that have happened to you through drinking. And on the other side, write the bad things Then they left and told me, usually a counseling session is 60 minutes, standard world over. They came back 30 minutes later and told me, let me look at the paper. And there was nothing on the good side
of the alcohol.
Yeah, and they told me this session is done.
So proud of you, Felix. And many people will learn from this. And I have, family and friends as well who struggle with this. I'm sure everyone here has a relative.
So many people have relatives, family members, workmates who are struggling with addiction.
Yeah. So they'll get in touch with us, and then we'll connect also with your organization.
Please get in touch with me, and I can even be able to connect them to other sources of help that are out there.
Yeah.
But the most important thing, Andrew, that the people need to know out there is that every single person in life deals with different challenges and problems. And it is okay not to be okay. Usually we beat ourselves up, we crunch ourselves, we strain ourselves because we believe that is the end, because we believe there's no solution. But you not being okay is actually meant for a purpose. If you embrace that pain and face it head on, you come out stronger and better. You come out reborn again. You come out rejuvenated. You come back reincarnated. I am a living example of that. I can walk on the streets comfortably again. I have, my pride is being gotten back. I'm going back to study this year, 2026.
Nice.
No excuses. And recovery teaches you so many things. One of those is that you stop procrastinating. I will do this tomorrow. I will do this next week. No, start now, because the future is now. You don't have tomorrow. It's not guaranteed. If you wake up, Andrew, and say, I'm supposed to do this for the game of life, don't wait till next week. No, start now.
And that's why I invited you now.
And I accepted and honored the invitation. I did not say, oh, it's at last minute.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a different program. I will do it next time. Because at the next time, there will be another activity. So
Felix,
it's okay not to be okay. And it's okay to face your fears. Because you
so
can
much.
overcome them.
This conversation will continue. And we might come back here for this. But thank you so much for being vulnerable, for sharing your story, because not everyone comes to speak out. And you are adding to what the game of life is doing in impacting society and actually telling stories that help someone out there. So for that, thank you so much.
It was an honor to be hosted at the Game of Life. And thank you so much that you're doing. And to the sportsmen out there, there is help. You just have to reach out. We have various support groups. We meet personally. We meet at Christ the King Church every Tuesday and every Friday between 1 to 2 p.m. And there are no dues. There are no fees. The only desire is for you to quit whichever substance it is that you're using. And you will get help professionally, because no one recovers on their own. You need a support system around you. You need help around you to help you get back onto your feet. And it is possible, and it can be done.
Felix Eupal.
Thank you so much.
Ferdinand. Thank you so much, my brother. Happy 2026.
Happy 2026.
See you soon.
Looking forward to transformation and seeing so many things happen in the game of life.
It's the game of life.
Yes.
Thank you.